I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm Carl Shoemaker with ActionCOACH, and welcome. And let's go through some of these slides and steps. I'll tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about ActionCOACH, right? ActionCOACH is the world's #1 coaching firm, founded by a guy named Brad Sugars out of Australia, who's now living in the States, in Las Vegas. And there are action coaches all over the world, not just all over the country, but all over the world. Literally several thousand coaches, and they're working with business owners all the time to help them build a better big business. I invite you guys, if you haven't already, but connect with me, right? Connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with me on Facebook. Look for a copy of this recording, which I will be putting out on YouTube, but also on Facebook. Feel free to ask me any questions. And frankly, if you see something that really resonates with you and you'd like a PDF of this slides, you just send me an email and I'll send you a PDF back of the slides that I put in here. All right?
Say, Carl, if I see a slide, typically what I do is I hit Shift Command
You got
number 3, and I get an instant screen capture.
You can grab a screen. You can grab a screen. If you want to screen capture, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. All right.
Okay, I'm not as
then you go the old-fashioned way. You send me an email and I'll respond back to you.
Okay, Carl, thanks.
No problem.
And I wanted to talk to you also about helping me with my Zoom. I have to, speak this week, and I was wondering if maybe we could set up a time you could help me a little bit with the Zoom process.
You got it. We'll practice. All right. No problem. All right, we'll just book a time together. We'll get on and we'll do it essentially like a practice. I'll show you exactly what to do. So yeah, that's great. I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you very much.
There's no reason why I can't, set up a quick Zoom call and we'll jump on and we'll do that. All right. So, oops. So what I wanted to do is I really want to take everybody through the 9 steps to prepare for a restart. We're here in New Jersey and we're still kind of locked down, although things are starting to open up a bit. It's certainly not normal yet. It's really an interesting time, and that's a funny word to use, but I really can't think of a different one. But here's the thing. Even though the rules may have changed, the game is still the same in that we're trying to run businesses, and business is a bit of a game, or it kind of always was. But all we have to do now is learn a new set of rules so we can play the game and win the game, right? Because winning the game is really important. A quote from Edison here. I'm really reminded more about, Edison's quote that I've always thought of, which was that, his success is what, 99%, 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration, right? It's about the grind. It's about the effort. You gotta learn the rules of the game. You gotta remember common sense always still wins. If there's one thing that patients, clients, customers are going to think about as they start coming back to see you, or as you come to see them, or as you interact with them, it's about, is everything clean? Is it really clean? Are they taking precautions? Are they screening? Are they screening their employees? Are they screening themselves? Are they screening people who come in their building or their office, right? Because if they're not, then is there a certain level of risk? And it's not the risk that's in your head. That's something to be considered too. It's the risk that they're going to be considering before they decide to interact with it. People have to see and feel that you're taking the steps that are needed in order for them to feel safe, right? What are they? It all depends on where you are, what you do. Is it wearing masks and wearing gloves? Is it hand sanitizer at the door on the way in or the way out, or both? At the countertop? Is it that the place is scrupulously clean? What steps are there? And we've got to be flexible. You got to be flexible with employees. We got to be flexible with customers. We got to be flexible with everybody. In the past, you might have thought, gee, if an employee were to come in and not be feeling well, they'll just gut it out and they'll get through the day. But if somebody's coughing and sneezing as they walk around your office. That's not going to do anybody any good. So we've got to be even more flexible than we may have been in the past. You've got to think about your team and rebuilding your team. And if your team is really small or your team essentially doesn't exist and you wear all the hats in your business, even so, you've got to think about how do you interact with people so that they have confidence, right? If it's a team of people, you got to think about ways to be flexible. If that makes sense, right? So if you did something, I'm reminded of clients I have where, you know, there may be a dozen people in the office in a normal situation previously. A dozen people in the office today would probably feel crowded, right? And maintaining a distance would be difficult. So flexibility, since they worked for the past, I don't know, 9 or 10 weeks virtually, how about alternating days and work virtually one day and in the office the other day and divide the crew up in half so that only about 6 people are in the office in any given day so you can spread further apart. Just things like that. If virtual work worked well, and not everybody's efficient working virtually as they are working in an office as a team, but as we get used to it, we can become more efficient, right? So flexible hours and the ability to work virtually, always important to communicate. Is it possible to communicate too much right now? Probably not. It's possible to communicate ineffectively, but communicating effectively and communicating a lot is a really great idea, right? Make sure everybody knows what's going on. And part of communication is listening as well as talking to them. If you're not hearing them or giving them a chance, and this goes for everybody, your clients, your customers, everybody, listen to them, right? So many businesses are out there are doing things already like contact-free estimates, right? No touch delivery and things like that. And because they're listening, because they're asking for what is it that would make you feel comfortable doing business with us again. So what steps can we all take to do things like that? Put in place those standards and protocols and communicate them with everybody. It makes your customers feel better. It makes your employees feel better. It makes you feel better. It keeps you safe. It keeps them safe. It's the right way to address things and move forward, right? And getting back to a level of productivity is probably going to take a bit of time, right? Probably going to be one of those things that for a while, we're going to operate at a less than optimum, throughput, right? And just think about it. If you think about a retail store, I have retail clients, and you think about a store and how much cleaning they have to do, and even the process of checking out and all those other things. Or think about offices where people drop off paperwork, like accounting offices, and whether people are going to be comfortable taking the paperwork or stack of receipts that come from somebody where they don't know where these receipts have been held, and they bring them in. And what are people going to do? Well, probably, if they're smart, they're going to take some steps, like, can they quarantine that paperwork for a day, right? That may be enough. Or use a UV light and hold the paperwork, and then after a day or two, you can more safely, even if it's mostly just the confidence in your head, you've taken every step that you could, right? But productivity will not come back like this. And everyone and everything is kind of new again, right? People are going to have to get used to doing things differently, right? They may have worked in an office. They may have worked, in a store for a long time, and then out they go, and maybe they did some virtual work, or maybe they didn't, but now they're back, but the world is not the same, right? Think about this. 6 months ago, if you were in a bank and somebody walked into the bank with a mask on their face, what would your reaction have been? A little shock, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, if somebody walks into a bank without a mask on their face, what would your reaction be? So that's how different some of this has become. And we have to be kind of sensitive to all that, right? All right, the next step number 3. As we're redoing everything and reworking everything, we've got to have some new deals, right? We got to think about our audience. Maybe we need a different target audience, a different deal for each target audience. And just it's thoughts about maybe new approaches, because the client base, the target customer might not be the same, right? We may have to have new avenues of way to make money. Right? If you happen to sell toilet paper, hand sanitizer, gloves, and masks before all this happened, guess what? You were able to sell something all the way through. If you weren't selling those things, your audience is not going to be quite exactly the same as it was before. And you have to start addressing that and figuring out what that audience is looking for. I think some businesses are going to take, as we all know, are going to take a long time to come back, right? And some are going to come back much more quickly. And some, I think there's a lot of pent-up demand where people want to get back. I mean, I can't wait to go have a nice meal at a restaurant that I'd like to go to, but you can't right now. When you do, it's going to be a totally different experience. It's probably going to be one of these things where, guess what? Their occupancy is down. You have to have a reservation. You're going to sit in a slightly different way. They're going to probably have dividers between tables. Everybody spread further apart. If you are like most businesses, 80% of your business probably comes from about 20% of your customers or clients, right? It's the old 80-20 rule, those loyal, standard, I appreciate what you do and what you have, and I come back for more and more. So we have to treat them a little bit specially. You also want to think about first responders, right? It's just a great way to re-energize your business and your base and create an offering to them, and kind of use them I don't mean use them, but use that thinking as a way to give back into your community, right? All of your existing customers are the best customers you've had. They're the ones who know you. They're the ones who probably like to see you again. If we're not talking to them periodically, let's get started and start talking to your existing customers. Start talking about what deals you might offer when they first come back. Do something extra for them, right? And also for people who've never been there, do something that says, try us out. Action Coach, we don't like discounting, but we really do like promotional activity, right? We don't like discounting for a lot of reasons, because you don't want to live and die by price. But we want to do things that are promotional activity that give someone something for something that they do, so you can encourage the behavior you want out of people, right? When you're first opening up again, when you're able to meet people in the same way you always did, those activities probably need to last for about a month, right? Maybe more, but they need to last, right? Again, it's going to take a while, but this is the plan. You start the plan now. You put the plan in place, and you start thinking about what's that first month going to look like. Around here, that first month is going to start opening up mid-June, if everything stays the way it's supposed to stay, but varies business by business. So keep in touch with everything that's going on. Announcements, right? You have to create a plan for how you're going to open or reopen and put it into place. A quote from Napoleon Hill: ready or not, get a plan, build a plan. That's the most important first step, right? Announcing things, right? Well, tell people what's going on. You need to tell people so you can start building up some excitement. I think there's pent-up demand out there, probably quite a bit of it, but people are still going to be quite a bit apprehensive and anxious about, what do we do first, right? We're all kind of in the habit of now, well, I better take a mask and take a mask with me for wherever I go and whatever I do. Okay, that some of that behavior and activity is going to go on, and you're also going to have to be prepared for what is the real new normal going to look like, right? Make these announcements, start making them at every step, right? Make it on a Facebook post, LinkedIn, on your website. Almost every website you'll go to now and you'll visit, they'll have a COVID-19 banner at the top with information about what they're doing differently, So start announcing that to people. If you've got team members, announce every team member. If you bring people back, announce it. Hey, Mary's back, Billy's back, Bob is back. They're back. They're with us. Here they are. So you imagine, with any business that people are used to dealing with certain people. I'm thinking of, the hair salons and all the rest of it where, there's a team of people and they're going to have a brave new world. But, I really believe there's a lot of pent up demand for, people getting back to their normal routines. If it's the ladies with the hair color or the manicure or the cut and the styling and all the rest of it. And announce deals that you made. If you had a good win, a big new project, big new client, announce it. Tell people about it, especially to the extent that you're allowed to, right? And announce your dates, right? Tell people, give them something to look forward to, right? We're doing this on the 15th, when the first time we're able to, or we're doing this on the 20th, or we're doing this the next day, right? Whatever it is you have that's a win or informational, announce it, right? Redo your celebration, right? Celebrate and praise in your life the more there is to celebrate and praise. Really? Oprah Winfrey? Brilliant, right? You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. So you're going to have a new reopening, grand reopening, have a ribbon cutting, right? Take some pictures, post your pictures, take a video. Celebrate the fact that you've survived, not all businesses are going to survive, right? If you survived, great. Now we got to get ready to thrive, right? If we lost the second quarter of this year, and a lot of businesses have kind of hurt very badly in that second quarter, what can we do? The second half of the year is not written yet. We don't know what's going to happen, but I think there's every bit as much a chance that we can have a great third quarter and fourth quarter as we had a bad second quarter, if we do a lot and outrun the other guy and work real hard at it, right? Celebrate your customers, right? Every customer is a key. Celebrate your town, your community. Again, your customers are from your community, and your community is what supports you, right? Make it newsworthy, make it memorable. There's in the world of social media today, remember, social media in one computer or smartphone and out another smartphone is the, essence of what is word of mouth advertising in 2020, right? It's people literally talking about how they had a great experience. They bought some great products at a great store. They had a great floor installed. They're really thrilled about the process. Or they did whatever it was they were doing and it worked really well, and they're sharing that on social media. So, nobody knows about it if you don't tell them about it, right? Step number 6, your numbers. Doesn't have to be a full-blown budget, although everybody in the world should be doing a budget for their business. It's not in this presentation, but if you send me an email and remind me, Carl Shoemaker at ActionCOACH.com, I will send you a blank budget template that you can use. So do that if you're interested. I'll send that blank budget template, and you can plug in some monthly numbers and give yourself a plan for the entire year. Really is the way it should be done. But here's the key, right? You got to know your numbers more now than ever before. You cannot manage what you do not measure. All right. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. Marcus Lemonis. All right. Every decision that we all make in business is broken down into 2 categories. It's going to make us money or it's going to cost us money. Right. We're literally looking at these decisions constantly, and we're trying to balance the whole thing out. So at the end of the day, we've got to keep more money, because it's what you get to keep that counts. Right. So your numbers, it's really critical that you know them, not less than you used to know them, even more than you used to know them, right? You really need to know your break even. Your break even is a calculation you need to know on a transaction basis, right? But you obviously need to know that for the month, for the quarter, for the year. The transaction is the kind of, simplest one to make. Yeah, you want to do some business, but you want to do business where you make enough money to cover your cost of goods sold, your revenue minus your cost of goods sold, minus your overhead and profits, minus your overhead yields your profit, right? So you've got to get to that point where you have a profit number. What's the point of doing all this work and not getting to keep any money? If you got EIDL money or PPP money, and you applied for that, the first part of it was applying for it. Congratulations. If you got it, congratulations. Guess what the next part of it is applying for forgiveness. Applying for forgiveness is going to be more difficult or time consuming or complicated, if you will. I'm not saying it's hard, but it's more complicated than it was applying for the loan. Because now you got to demonstrate that you did what you had to do to make sure that some of it got forgiven. Right? You got to follow the rules. You don't want a surprise where the money becomes taxable or a loan. Now, the loan's not a bad loan, right? Because it's at 1%, but it's got a 2-year payback. So if it's forgiven, great. If it's not forgiven, you're paying it back at a very low interest rate, but within 2 years. All right. So follow the rules. And if you ask, if you need help, this is the kind of thing that CPAs, finance people, and your banks are supposed to be really helpful with, and your payroll company if you're using a payroll company. Cash is king. Cash has always been king. It remains king. Having cash on hand is really important. It's important to survive any tough times. And guess what? We all just got hit with a real tough time that we probably weren't really anticipating. And here we are, right? So making sure you have money available and you're in a good cash position so you can survive whatever happens and whatever comes down the pike is really critical. Rethink your marketing and sales. I've had too many people tell me about how they froze everything and stopped everything. And might have to stop some expenses, but you certainly shouldn't stop your marketing, and you certainly shouldn't stop your sales. The world has changed, people's motivations and decision-making has changed, and so should your marketing message and your sales strategies. That's Brad Sugars, founder of ActionCOACH. And I'm trying to, people buy all kinds of things, right? And if you think about the range of things that you might like to buy, if things are really tough, you might, you're still buying food, right? But maybe you hold off on buying that Rolex. I don't know. This all depends on your situation. But a Rolex, if you really love timepieces and you really like good timepieces and you really, really want one, you might not be buying it for the same reason you would have bought it before, but you still might buy it. And maybe a Mercedes is what you really want in the next car you have. But maybe you need an E-Class, not an S-Class. I don't know. But your motivation for what you buy and when you buy it might have changed. So you need to talk, like always, about the benefits of something, which the way I typically describe this, it's the value, not the price. So, salespeople's job is to help people make good, educated decisions about what they buy. Make sure people understand the benefit and the value. If something lasts longer, it's worth more. You get what you pay for. Remember that people are afraid, worried, anxious, right? What happens if? So that's why you hear a lot of the car companies, what they're out there doing is saying, well, we'll write this deal in such a way that if you were to lose your income, we'll give you so many months of deferment on your payment. And banks are doing a lot of this. Mortgages are being deferred if necessary. They're not being forgiven, they're being deferred if you need to. All I'm saying is, if you need where people make a decision and you can address that fear and worry, that's going to help them get over the hump to make that call and to move forward with a purchase if you can reduce the fear and worry they may have. Your sales process, if you have one, you should. It should be defined. You should be able to know that you walk people through a certain set of steps. Put one together. If you don't have one, ask me. I can help you do that. So you take people through the steps and how they can get a sale done. The steps may be more involved. There may be more steps. It may take longer to get a sales process, right? Everybody may be hesitant to commit to expenditures. They might want to test your product out or test your service out for a shorter time period so that they're not taking a bigger commitment on. So make some flexibility in your ladder of products so you can create the opportunity for people to take advantage of something on a one-off basis. Create videos. Create more videos. You use them as testimonials, but use them also as information, devices, right? You do them as a way that people can get to know you. Because think about this, in that sales process, what's one of the key things about the sales process? How do they get to know you? How do they get to know who you are and what you do and what you mean and how you're thinking? Can they work with you? So videos are great. Testimonials that are videos are great. Videos as information. Think about this for yourself. Are you a service provider, right? Are you an expert in a particular field? How do you want to portray that information? And if you're giving information to people, that's just one more step in the way to helping them make a decision on how to buy and what to buy, all right? Everything should really be customer centric, especially about questions and about, what is it you need as a customer, and so that I can address your needs, right? You always should be building a database. Keep building a database, but also build relationships, all right? People buy from people they know, like, and trust. So get to know people so they begin to feel they know you and they can trust you. Go above and beyond the call of duty, do more, not less, right? And thank everybody, and maybe thank them again, and then maybe re-thank it. So saying thank you is more than good manners, it's good spirituality. Alfred Painter. Customers are people you should thank. I mean, obviously. Your team for sure. Employees, typically in employee surveys, right? Typically gratitude is expressed as the #1 motivating factor. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but they typically say, hey, I love that my boss, the business owner really appreciates what I do. I feel good about being here and working in this company. All your suppliers, your bankers, your accountants, your favorite business coach, everybody you work with, you should be thanking them. Hopefully they appreciate you and they thank you as well.
Thank you, Carl.
You're quite welcome. Thank you. Use handwritten notes when you can.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing like that personal touch. Even thank the media. Thank politicians, right? Whether it's in your nature to thank them or not. Gosh, we've got people doing all kinds of stuff, and whether it always works out as well as it should or not, I don't know, but I think they're trying. I know I'm trying. I like to think the business owners I work with, I mean, I don't, I've never met so many hardworking, people in my life as a small business owner. I think they're kind of underappreciated, and they make the world turn. And again, we should be thanking them, because fellow business owners are kind of, kindred spirits. If you own a business, you kind of have an independent streak and, kind of willingness to go above and beyond the call of duty, and, give back. And I think, we should all appreciate that. I definitely feel that a lot of the people that I know in business are just, they'll do anything. I honestly can't think of a time that somebody asked me for some help with something from a business perspective, and I said no. I usually would say, I'll do the best I can, or yeah, I think I have an idea, or at least I'll put you in touch with someone else, right? But showing them that you really appreciate their efforts, real key, right? So here's the path that your business all businesses follow. And it's an interesting chart. Where are we right now? We're kind of in the survive mode, right? It's restrictions are about to be eased. They're kind of going to get started soon. We've got to start getting prepared. So we're kind of surviving. Now, here's the question. Where do we go? What path do we take as we come out of this? As we drive our way through to the back half of this year to where we thrive? Where is it going to be? Are we going to be down here and not make it? Or are we going to be doing better? Not quite back to where we were before, but better, still tough trading. Are we going to really take the steps to thrive? Okay. This is a slide very similar to something I've used in a lot of change management stuff that I've done in past lives 100 years ago. And we always talk about this, not in the realm of overall business performance, but in specific project management. You talk about how you work to take on something new, a new process, a new system, a new set of tools, a whole new training program. And you go, wow, this is such a great idea. This is going to help a lot. I really want to do this. This is going to work. And then you start doing it. You go, wow, this is kind of hard. This is more difficult than I thought it would be. Oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if this is going to work. And right here at this inflection point, which is kind of where we all are right now as business owners, is where you give up and you wind up over here, or you push your way through and you wind up taking these paths here. So the path that your business follows is really decided right now. Right? It all depends on how much activity you take and what you do. You guys have heard the story probably, may have even heard it from me, about the two guys who are out, the hunters out in the woods, and they break through into a clearing and a huge brown bear rears up and growls at them. And they turn and look at one another, and one guy says, I don't know if I can outrun this bear. And the other guy says, I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you, right? Are you going to be the guy who outruns the other guy? And this is the point at which you get to decide, and I can tell you this, it has everything to do with what activity you take right here. So what's your plan? How do you get there? Going to business without a plan is like taking a mountain trek without a map or GPS, right? You're going to get lost and starve if you don't have one, right? So it turned out to be, I don't, this is just a lot of talk when this first happened was, we may be shut down for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, or we're flattening the curve, or it'll get better and we'll start to have different restrictions, but we'll able to open up again. Well, it's kind of turned into it's going to be about a 90-day curve, right? So now we're survived, right? Now we got a 90-day plan we've got to put together in order to thrive. So how are we going to do it? How do we thrive? How do we get to that point? And what do we have to do? What steps? Because reopening is probably going to be harder than just closing was, right? Closing down was, relatively speaking, easy. It was kind of taken out of our hands. You cannot afford simple mistakes, right? You got to think about what could go wrong as well as what can go right. Right? So if every customer is out there making decisions about not making long-term commitments, maybe now is a chance to make really good decisions and really be cautious about long-term commitments, but get going with certain things, especially the things you can do at, relatively speaking, low or no cost, right? And get help. Right? There are plenty of people out there who will help and who are willing to help, essentially because they want to see you survive and they want to see you thrive, right? So ask for it. So this one is one of those ones that you may want. I'm actually writing an article about this slide too, but do your screen capture if you like, right at this point in time, or send me the email and I'll get you a PDF of this one. Across the 5 phases of what happened to all of us here, broken down into our personal lives and our business lives. And I recognize that for business owners, the two are so intertwined, it's hard to separate them. But if you think on the personal life, the first thing you kind of had to do is all about your family and your personal life and maybe your energy and your mindset. And then if you think about whether we did this or not, we should have, right? I'm always quoting a guy named Jim Rohn. Whose quote I love was, "Work harder on yourself than you do on your job." This is a chance for us to take online courses or to relearn things or to learn how to do video or learn how to do a Zoom or learn how to record yourself or get used to the fact that, as I don't know about you guys, but I kind of hate the sound of my own voice, and I've been told I have a face for radio. And here I am doing, recorded videos all the time and then suffering through watching them periodically to see if I can get better at doing it, right? So look for some help and some coaching. Learn how to manage yourself and your time. You're starting to get warmed up now. If you're not time efficient, here's a good time to be efficient. Set up a default diary, all right? Best way to start getting yourself into a situation where you can be more time efficient. Ask me, I'll probably do a quick webinar on default diary, as a matter of fact, coming up soon. Work on your energy, your own focus, your commitment, the fact that you're the owner, you're responsible. If things go well for you, it's because you made it happen, right? Be consistent, but have balance in your life, all right? And on the business side, remember, your business finances are important. Know your numbers. Look after your staff. You need them, right? We never would have thought we were going to virtually shut down previously, but here we are. If you don't have a vision and mission statement in your business, you need one, right? Action Coach vision, world abundance through business re-education. Huge. World abundance through business re-education. How can I work on world abundance through business re-education? I do it by working with small business owners who want to grow. And I'm doing world abundance in my corner of New Jersey, right here. Just like other coaches in other areas are doing that where they are. Add it all together. If we all do it well, we can get to world abundance through business re-education, right? Think about your products, your services, your offerings. What do you have that would be the equivalent of masks, toilet paper, gloves, and hand sanitizer? What can you add to the mix that people are looking for that you can now offer to them? Get warmed up, get ready. Look for ways to have differentiation between you and anybody else. Look for opportunities. Think about it. Get together with other business owners. I'm doing a Tuesday evening kind of brainstorming session. I can tell you this, we've had several different ideas that have popped up in these sessions from different interactions that might lead to new business. Take advantage of things like that. Do it. Lead. And lead from the front. You don't lead from behind. And you don't need anybody to tell you you're a leader. You need to prove it. You need to demonstrate it. You need to just do it, right? You don't need a title to be a leader. Great book, by the way. Don't need a title to be a leader. Check it out. When you get into the top phase of this, it's about continuous improvement. It's about systems and processing and doing things better and better so that you can do what? Grow your business, keep more money, right? And have ultimately what you really want, which is a profitable commercial enterprise that works without you, okay? That's the goal of what we're all doing, okay? So this, again, this slide is really important. So to finish up, you ought to get together with your action coach. Well, here you are already. Take advantage of this. I hope you learn something from this. You've got to make yourself a list. And I appreciate if you do this now and think of the 5 things you need to take action on from what you've heard and what you've learned. And if you need any help with it, just send me an email. List the 5 things that you want some help with, and I'll provide you some coaching on those 5 things. All right. And the charge for that is $0. Right. I would love to see every business owner in my corner of New Jersey survive and then thrive. So I will help you survive. When it comes to thriving, I will help you. And we'll get to talk about that in the future, about how you're surviving and then thriving, and then, why being working with a coach is going to be critical to make that really work. So if you have any questions, now's the time. And then please follow up with me at any point. Give me that information. Give me an email. Give me the 5 things that you want help with or work on. And I'll be thrilled to try to come back and give you some info and give you some coaching. Any questions? I think I'll stop.
No, I just wanted to thank you, though, Carl, for doing this. And I have to actually leave now. I have to go measure a job, but I will be in touch soon. Maybe we could help me out on the Zoom.
I will. You let me know.
Exactly.
I will happily do that. You let me know. Send me a reminder, an email, and we'll set up something time, and we'll get together.
And you speak very well. Hopefully you can teach me how to speak as well as you do.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'll take it.
I guess that comes with the territory.
I don't know if it
right?
comes. Yeah, if it comes with anything except Bob. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. But if you do it enough times, eventually you get to be pretty good at it, I guess. But thank you. I appreciate it.
All righty. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care,
Take
Bill.
care now. All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Carl. I saw something recently when you touched on something that's newsworthy and will reach a lot of people. I recently saw something by Fujifilm of Europe, and what they did. Now, Fuji, people think of Fuji as a camera company, but they actually make more money in film than anything else, and they're the leader in film. And they've been giving away free Instax cameras to healthcare workers, and the really elegant get for that is that they can take pictures of each other without masks on, and then they can hang that smiling face on their tag that patients see, so they see the person who's behind the mask.
Yes, I've seen that. Yeah, I think that was brilliant.
I was smacking my head thinking, geez, why didn't I think of that? I can't afford to give away Instax cameras because that's pretty expensive, but I have the Instax. John Wilkins,
for example, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Could you, for example, masks and gloves, PPE, whatever it takes for you, I'm talking about for you, and go to a place like a nursing home facility where they have the staff and have them 6 feet away from you or even outside, and you snap a picture of them, and then you send the pictures to them, and they can hang it on them so they're behind the stuff. How about something like that?
I could even make the prints and send the prints on an overnight.
You know what? I have several. I can connect you up with a few different people, but I think you may have hit on something that maybe you could do, and you know where it would wind up? It would wind up all over their Facebook page.
Yeah, very likely. I mean, I've been using this downtime as found time, literally, and really spent a lot of time learning post-production on video editing. Even though it's only with iMovie, I did that slideshow with iMovie, which cool. I found a lot of hidden features that enabled me to make it more seamless, and probably what you saw over the internet is very spotty, but if you go to the YouTube channel and actually look at it there, it's flawless.
I will. I'll check it out. It was great. I mean, my connection was pretty good. I saw it. I liked it. I think it was a good job. But you know what? Think about that. This is one of those things too. Moving quickly.
Yeah.
Something like that might be an interesting thing. And I think I could hook you up with somebody where you could say, hey, I'll come by and we'll try this out and see if they like it. And if they like it at that location and get the word going, maybe do it in other places. Just think about it. This might be silly. But just think about it.
Silly.
What about every school
district? I'm the dancing raccoon guy. I'm silly as it gets.
What about every school district? What about every library? What about when they start reopening? They're all going to be wearing masks.
They will or will not be wearing masks when they reopen at the library.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't know what.
Yeah, I think they might be.
Wearing masks?
Yeah, I think they might be. I don't know when they're going to reopen. You know, I'm just.
Yeah. Well, what's
It's a
going through my
hypothetical.
mind is the
It's a
nursing home idea I hadn't thought of. St. Joe's Hospital and
Sure.
Oasis, WIC, because I have connections with WIC.
Right. But those are places, look, anything you can do where you're addressing first responders, you're helping people out, and you're putting, at the same time, you're putting out a message. Look at what we're doing. I don't, you know, self-promotion. If you're a small business owner and you're not engaged in self-promotion, you're missing the boat. So
Oh, yeah.
this is one of those things where I think you really ought to try to take some action on this. And I may be able to connect you with somebody. So
Well, yeah, I
take
really
this
appreciate
idea, let's
that.
run with it.
You put me in touch with any connections that think it might be a good idea, because I could literally be out there in a heartbeat, and I've got all the, you know, necessary equipment. I've got the, you know, of course, the camera. I can bring a printer with me and plug it in and make a print right on the spot. And
Right.
yeah, I'm ready.
I'll make a call or two. Probably won't happen today, but I'll try to make some inquiries and I'll get back to you.
Okay,
Remind me
great.
if you don't hear from me in a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, Carl, do you have you thought about like getting a better setup for your Zoom meetings and stuff, like
Yeah.
better lighting? I don't know if it's your connection, and maybe it's just on my end. I get a lot of stuttering or buffering from the signal, and it could be just that I'm getting a bad signal here.
Yeah. I hope not. But I typically, when I recorded it and played it back.
Yeah, if you look at the recording, then you'll know. That's where
it's usually pretty decent. I don't look any
good.
better.
Mhm.
It is what it is.
What are you using for a microphone?
I'm using an HD camera on my. It's just I have a desktop set up, and I use a Logitech HD
Logitech.
HD webcam on my computer monitor, hanging on it.
Okay.
The one on I have a laptop separately. That one on my laptop's not as good. This is a Logitech
Yeah.
HD, and it seems to work pretty well for the most part. Yeah, I would love to. You know, I'm in a process actually of resetting up the whole office, but I want to separate. You know, I want to do more of it standing up. I'm working on a completely new setup too, because in some cases when I'm coaching on Zoom. I'm sitting here.
Right.
But if I'm working on a presentation, I like to have some alternate ways to do it.
Now, from what I see from the Zoom meetings, it looks like you're just using your ambient lighting, whatever is in the room.
No, I have a halo light behind the camera, but my problem is I have sometimes too much ambient lighting behind me. Right.
And what's a halo? That's like a flat panel LED, isn't it?
It's an LED. It's a round LED light.
Oh, okay. That's like a beauty light. It's probably 19-inch diameter with a hole in the middle.
Yeah. It's not that big.
That's for a specific purpose. It's you might be better off with something like a flat panel.
Well, see,
and ideally it would be two flat panels,
the light.
One on one side and one on the other side.
Right. Yeah, that's probably what I should do. Right. So you can change the tone of the light. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah. Yeah, I should, right? You know, it's
that's your fucking grade. That's like the cheapest thing you can do to make your image better.
Right.
Is
get
better lighting.
So I've been more focused on content than I have been on my appearance, but I should take you up on that. I should get some better equipment.
My appearance is the pits. I mean, I lost a tooth and I haven't been able to go to the dentist, so I'm not ready.
Oh, you can go for something like that.
What?
You can go for something like that.
No, I called and they weren't taking me. It was not an emergency.
Really?
Yes.
Well, they say you're not in pain, so therefore it's not.
It's not